What's going on, y'all? I'm about to get straight into this. I'm not going front because I realize a lot of people think instability thinks that it breaks your discipline or it breaks disciplined people, right? And I'm gonna be honest with you, it really doesn't. It really doesn't. Hold on here. Make sure I'm live first. Sometimes the algorithm doesn't pick it up quick. But let's see. Yes, we are live. Okay, cool. So, as you can tell, if you're reading the description here, this is what I'm going to be covering in tonight's live, right? So, like I was saying, I'm going to go on ahead and get straight on into this because a lot of people tend to think instability breaks disciplined people. Instability does not break disciplined people. What it really does is it exposes whether you build systems or you build comfort, right? So, let's take for instance, a lot of you guys know that I was out here in the streets, homeless and things like that. And I'm not here for sympathy. I'm not here to say, oh, take pity on me and have a pity party or anything like that, right? I'm here to talk about structure. That's what I'm here to talk about. And you have to realize that homelessness is a condition, it's not an identity. Circumstances are data, they're not destiny. It doesn't mean you're going to stay like that forever. If one pillar of your life falls and you feel as if your entire life collapses. But that's not true at all because you don't build pillars. What you're doing is you're building decorations. That sense of a decoration is what made you who you are. Is what made me who I am, right? And pressure reveals that very, very, very quickly. Now, when you lose stability, a lot of people tend to go into this whole thing where I was talking about before was survival mode, right? And that's biology. Everybody that you meet in your life has an instance of survival mode, right? Your fatigue from decision increases, it narrows your focus, and you have to realize that's science and not weakness. But you can lose housing without losing vision. You can lose comfort without losing competence, yo. And I'm saying this because I was listening to Ugly Money, right? I think he does red pill content. I tried. I don't. I have a very private life, and I was sitting here, listening to him, and he was talking about it's you. You're the reason. This, that, and the third. I'm like, all right, I get that, but at the same time, that goes back to somebody telling you to maintain your attitude. And when people tell you to maintain your attitude, that really is just saying, hey, stay like this long enough so it could benefit me, right? But you have to realize that environment influences that performance as well. So, in other words, it doesn't define your strategic capacity, right? So, if your mind is intact, that means your leverage is intact. Now, I know I said in the beginning, like, oh, I'm not here for sympathy and all that. Don't get me wrong, sympathy does feel good, but structure is what pays the bills, right? And when you cannot control the roof, you control the routine. My days became engineered. Really, I wanted to do revenue generating tasks first. Wanted to sharpen my skills on a daily basis. Wanted to network intentionally. Didn't want to go into emotional spirals or wasted motion whatsoever, right? So what I wanted to do was not rise to the level of motivation, because if you do not rise to those levels of motivation, you end up falling to the level of your systems. And you guys know I love stoicism, and that's what I would like to consider stoicism in action, right? Not quotes, not aesthetics, but execution in itself. And when everything feels unstable, routine becomes oxygen. So let's be real, because we all like to be real. Victimhood is emotionally justified sometimes. And like I was saying earlier in a previous post of mine, emotions nowadays in today's society are taken at face value quicker than the truth is. And strategically, that is very expensive. Very expensive. You know, there are systemic barriers. Yes. There are economic realities. Yes. Acknowledging that is awareness. Living inside of it though, that paralyzes you. The question here would be very, very simple when you think about it. Does focusing on what you cannot control increase your leverage? And in reality, it doesn't. Because if you can't control it, it's just noise at the end of the day. It really is. And not only that, let's say for instance, right? You have this internal thing going on of control, right? It's not delusional. It's what you would call performance strategy, for lack of better terms. Agency multiplies output. Blame multiplies stagnation, is what it really does. You can't sit here and recognize injustice and not choose power. Because what you will do is you will recognize the injustice and still choose power. And that's what you call duality, and duality is strength. You know, I know I was talking about pressure earlier, and pressure is brutal, but it's an honest teacher. It clarifies that cash flow is freedom, skill is portable, comfort's not. But network equity beats stored savings. System scale, but motivations collapses and all that, right? So when you're under pressure, your ego tends to like die out very, very fast. You stop caring about appearances. You start caring about efficiency. Adversity really can strip all the distractions out of your life and put you in this focus mode of, hey, I need to get this done. I need to get this done. I need to get this done. And that's what it did for me. It forced operational precision because I know I spoke on taking the vow of poverty and then getting locked up and then ending up uh, becoming homeless. I'm kind of this, which is why I'm glad I took the vow of poverty. It literally prepared me for the day, hey, if I ever become homeless, I know what to fucking do. But at the same time, that's what it does. That adversity stripped all my distractions. It put me in a focus mode of, hey, I need to do this if I want to get to this. I need to do this if I want to get to this. I need to do that if I want to get over here. Every decision I made became pretty much a return on my investment driven. It became ROI driven. It really did. And every person that I met or brought into my life became intentional. You know, every moment, every second, every minute, every hour that I spent building my products, building my services, it literally became strategic. And that's what I would like to call being anti-fragile to the circumstances, because a lot of people know that stress is a killer. It can, especially for those who have PTSD. Stress will destroy some people, but I didn't want to let stress destroy me. So what I did is I let it refine the blueprints that I was building. And if you don't define your story, someone else will tend to define it for you. If you let somebody take your pain and weaponize that against you, it will be your downfall. So when you want to control your narrative, define it correctly, because this is not what you want to call a failure chapter. This is what you want to call field training. For those who have been in that situation, they know exactly what I'm talking about, because this is where that field training comes in. It builds constraint based innovation, focus conditioning, resilience under pressure. It builds all of that. And stability is never guaranteed. You know, everybody that you meet, they always say, when, because you guys know I've worked with a lot of nonprofits, I've done a lot of volunteer work and stuff like that. I always hear that, oh, I'm one paycheck away from being homeless. I'm one job loss away from being homeless. I'm one missed bill away from being homeless. You have to realize, it's technically it's not your fault. It can be designed that way. This is why you have to be careful of who you let into your inner circle, because competence can be built. Discipline can be built. Systems can be built. that will be your only real insurance policy to never ever be in that situation again. And if you do want to be in that situation again, it's by choice. So you have to realize that you can't really control every circumstance. You only control the response that you're building, the response that you give. You know, oh, a lot of people always say, well, this is one thing I do say, and I kind of live by this. I know it sounds like I'm contradicting myself here, but people always look at the reaction. They never look at the cause of the reaction. And nine times out of 10, that is what caused the discomfort. And when the comfort disappears, identity tends to get tested. So you that way you end up building yourself in a way that survives instability. You know, that's how you end up moving from surviving to end up constructing a legacy. You know, pressure reveals structure. You know, you have to make sure yours exists on top of that. You really do. I didn't even expect to be on here for this long going live, but that's pretty much it. If you guys are watching the live, I know you see this right here. This is my new updated AI clone prompt. So what this is pretty much a improvised version. Now, a lot of people know that I was giving away this prompt for free. I recently just gave it out to another gentleman for free today before I actually went live with the price thing, with the price updates and things like that. But I have gotten a lot of good reviews on my AI clone prompt, which I'm very excited about. There have been really, rarely no complaints. The only complaints I really had were of people not knowing how to enter the prompt into the system that they were using, whether it was Chat GPT or Notion or Claude, Anthropic, or anything else like that, right? So specifically for those who are using the free version of Chat GPT, let's see here. Can I turn the camera around? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this camera around, and I'm going to open up my Chat GPT. All right, so boom. So here is, make sure I got it the right. All right, because this is my right hand. All right, so boom. Hopefully, all right, hold on, because I see it's reversed here. It's not letting me flip the. Is it gonna let me flip the image? All right, so even though the image is backwards here, I'm still going to give you guys a demonstration, right? So what you're going to do here is you're going to open up your Chat GPT, and I call mine. This is mine. I call mine the Mansa protocol. If you guys don't know who Mansa is, I'm talking about Mansa Musa, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to open up your Chat GPT, and you're going to go into what's here. It says create project, right? I understand that the camera here is backwards, but go into create project. You want to give it a name. I'm just going to give it a simple little thing here, right? Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take the AI clone, or better yet, I already have it. I already have it saved. What you're going to do is you're going to take the AI clone after you click on sources, right? You want to click on add. From there, you're going to hit upload or text input, Google Drive, Slack, whichever one that you're using, or you can just drop and drag the source that you already have, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop and drag the source here. So boom, here is my AI clone infrastructure, right? So this is just a test. I'm going to drag it and drop it in. Boom. That's the source. You can also add other sources. Now, if you're here on the free version, you can add up to 5 sources. So I'm just going to upload a few more things here just to give it some whatever. Let me think here. Boom. 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 Well, add these 3 sources here just for reference, right? This way you're giving your AI a brain. You're giving it something it can actually back off of, right? Whether it's your own personal writings, whether it's projects that you've worked on, whether it's anything you can imagine, graphics you designed, coding that you came up with, it's all here. Now, only thing you have to do is begin a new chat. Now, once you begin a new chat, you'll begin to see outcomes like this. Now, I did ask if it was using the AI clone that I inputted because they did update the framework here. I normally didn't do this. I actually just inputted it as a regular chat. I didn't use any created chat GPT or anything else like that. So, as you can see here, are you using the AI clone I inputted? So, what it's saying here now, make sure I can. All right, here we go. So what it says here is yes, your AI clone framework from pasted.txt is active and being used as a governing layer for positioning, tone, discipline, and narrative control as well. So in other words, that means the AI clone pro that I created is live. So what that means is this is absolutely not free anymore, right? This is a $1,500 product right now. It's being sold for $297. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's so expensive. Oh, why is the price so high?" Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. Would you rather? How can I put this? How can I put this? Hmm. Because there's so many ways to put it. And I don't want to offend anybody when I say this, but I'm kind of sure somebody's going to be out here feeling offended and feeling so. What's the word I'm looking for? Beginners. That's the word. This is not for beginners. This is actually implementation strategy. This is literally built to help people have more clear brand positioning. This is built to help people monetize their content strategy. It's built uh, to help you build sales systems, to give you authority, to pretty much the same thing I always say: turn your mind, you who you are, into a 24/7 sales revenue system. This is what it's designed for. This whole clone is what I would like to consider a high stakes persona modeling system. It replicates your voice, your strategic discipline, leadership presence across all digital platforms. Uh, it's even built for the narrative control. What else? Durability for your reputation, long-term positioning. It's a lot here, and it also, as an added on bonus, it does come with a 90-day revenue acceleration system. So in other words, it is a model that's going to help you build your business within 90 days to pretty much make you revenue. Now, all you have to do, if you're watching from your laptop, you can simply just scan the QR code there. If you're watching from a tablet, you can scan the QR code there. If you're doing anything else like that, if you're watching from a phone, you don't have your phone, but your buddy has a phone, or your girlfriend, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, they have a phone, scan this QR code right there. It'll take you there. Only thing is you're going to have to do is input your name, your email, your phone number, and your banking information. That's it. It's all secured. It's straight to Linktree. If you guys haven't heard of Linktree, I highly recommend them. I really do. I really do highly recommend. Should I put that? No, I'm not gonna put that in there. I'm gonna put that somewhere else. Actually, I'm gonna put that on my main profile page, my business page as well, so you guys can actually get the referral link for Linktree if you want to sign up for it. But with that being said, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end this live stream. But yeah, guys, grab this damn AI clone. Quit bullshitting yourselves, man. Like seriously, stop bullshitting yourselves. Grab this AI clone and build authority. Control your narrative. Don't let somebody else control your narrative and generate the fucking revenue that you want to generate.